In this video, we will have a short demonstration about how to use the RSB Screening Tool. It is an interactive Excel tool that it's created to help you to identify the social environment aspects relevant to your operation and to identify when a more detailed study or assessment of a particular aspect is required in your supply chain. You will see how to complete the screening exercise. There is a specific guidance here. And then we need to know more about your scope. So you will go to the PO details where you can include information about the type of operators included in your supply chain. For example, can be a primary biomass producer or industrial operator. You can also select the size of your operations based on the area or production of your industrial site. And if you are not sure about the type of operator, you can have more details and definitions along the tool. So clicking in this red cell, you will find the definitions about the different type of operators in the RSB supply chains. Please have in mind that traders, mechanical operators, and also first collectors of residuals are not required to comply with the RSB principles and criteria, so they are not required to complete the RSB screening tool. To complete the tool, we have to go to each session, and please note that each session is related to some RSB principles and criteria. For example, you have to respond to the question proposed by the tool, and the tool will indicate if it's necessary to go to the next step or if it's necessary to do any additional requirement. For example, if you respond no for the questions about the social impact assessment, the tool will ask you to respond about the major social issues, and then the tool also indicates that you have to go and use the RSB guidelines for social impact assessment. All the guidelines are available in the RSB website, so if you check in our library online, you can find all the tools you need and are mentioned along the RSB screening tool. The RSB risk-based approach is used when considering the sustainability requirements to identify the regions where some specific requirements are more relevant than in the other regions. For example, related to Principle 4, Human and Labor Rights. It's used the rule of law, regulatory quality, and government effectiveness to define how deep the auditors will check compliance with specific requirements related to labor rights. It's provided an international index for this from the World Bank. For rural and social development, RSB uses the Human Development Indicator and then provided the link where you check the HDI of the region of your supply chain and identify if it's a poverty region. The same related to the food security. So go to the Global Hunger Index and check if the region your supply chain is based is a local food security region or not. It is also applicable in Principle 12 when you consider if there are issues related to property rights using the International Property Rights Index, and the link is provided here for your reference. Session 5 of the RSB screening tool covers questions related to RSB Principle 7, Conservation. We will find questions about the use of the areas, any conversion and conservation values, and also about invasive species. For example, you find questions about if you converted the areas after 1st January 2008, and then you find the next step related to if it's possible or not to go ahead with the certification, or if it's necessary to conduct any specific impact assessment based on the RSB guidelines. So you find the links to the conservation impact assessment in our website, as we explained before. It's important to note that your responses should be supported by documents and information collected from reliable sources to support any conclusions from your auditor. In the Screening Tool, Session 6, you'll find questions about the RSB Principle 8, 9, and 10, Soil, Water, and Air Quality. Principle 8 is only applicable to biomass producers, but Principles 9 and 10 are also applicable to industrial operator. You will find here questions about the use of the soil, characteristic of the area, also related to water extraction, water quality, pollution, and also water rights, and air quality, pollution, and open air burning. For all questions, depending on your answer, you will find additional guidelines and the link to the RSB website where you find specific guides to implement water management plan or additional soil impact assessment. So it will help you to improve your performance related to use of the natural resources. When you complete the screening exercise, you identify the sustainability issues and any additional study you may need to do as part of your RSB implementation. You are now ready to prepare your environmental social management plan, not only to ensure compliance with the RSB standards, but to promote changes in the environmental social aspects and promote positive impacts.